okay, I want to send an email to all first-time buyers, and
Hmm.
just watch you do it one more time. I
You
notice you
bet.
do it so quickly.
Yes, yeah,
Um,
and that's what I say. Like I'm in here all the time. People will tell me slow down, but it's just using it every single day.
yes,
So yeah, absolutely. So again, the first process would be tagging your lead, of course. So every time you guys have a conversation with a lead, and often enough, even through SMS communication, you should be able to apply bare minimum 2 tags to them, at least. Whether it's their situation, that's an easy one, right? Are they a homeowner or a first-time buyer? We generally ask a question. Are they a renter? Are they downsizing, relocating? Just simple questions that come up in conversation. And then often enough, you will get some from SMS as well. Timelines, right? Are they a future opportunity? Are they planning to buy within a year? Or are they like a year plus down the road? Various things like that, but always aim to have at least 2 tags in your conversations with your leads. That way you kind of know if like, oh, I didn't get any tags for this person. I probably wasn't asking enough questions, or the conversation didn't go as intended. There's a lot of different factors, obviously, that come into play, but you should be able to get like, a bare minimum 1, right? So like bare minimum 1 is where you're going with. So again, having those tags in. So to add a tag, you hit the plus sign, you just go add new tag, you give it your name, you give it a color, and then you confirm. Once it's in the list, it's in the list, inevitably. It's just there. You don't have to keep adding it in. So we would then select the lead. We have a first-time buyer on this one already, so we'll just pretend that we just added that one. So hypothetically, we are going to add that filter item here with the tag. Okay, so tagging our lead, we then have different options here. So if we chose all the tags, means that they have to have all of the tags. So if I'm selecting 4 first-time buyer tags, this lead would have to have all 4 of those tags. They can have other tags as well, but they at least have to have all those ones I've selected. If I go none, that means they don't have any of those tags that I'm specifying. If they have any, that means if I'm specifying several tags, it doesn't matter if they have 1 of them, 2 of them, all of them, they just have to basically have at least 1 of the tags. And then only selected means they can only have this tag or these tags, nothing else. Okay, so I tend to go to any just to be on the safe, because they can have any of the tags. And then you would pull up that first time buyer. Let's just go, there's a bunch of them, and then we're going to apply this. Okay, so once we've applied that, we've now got our 49 leads that have at least one of these tags on them, indicating that they're a first-time buyer. You're then going to select this box here, which selects the entire column for you, and then select all. So then we would know we've got 49 of 49. You can deselect individuals if you wanted to or needed to. You're then going to go up to your apply actions and send a mass email. Now, again, creating your template first is, a lot easier, but you're going to select your template. I don't think I have any kind of first time. I'll just click this one, pretend it was a first time buyer email of some sort that we're sending these people. So there we've got the email. Again, you guys can go in here. You can edit it after the fact if you want to, if you need to add or tweak it a little bit. And then you're going to send the test to yourself. So you send the test to yourself, and then you click send test email. That way you can view it on your phone, view it on your browser, so you make sure everything looks all great. And then once you're satisfied with that, you're just simply going to send it. And I just sent it to all these people, but that's okay. So it's all of us. It's all of our team stuff, and most of them have unsubscribed, so it's all good. So now all of those emails, so the test email and that mass email would have been sent to all of those. When it comes to reviewing your mass communications, you can go into the mass email section and see that. So you'll be able to see, a summary essentially. So 45, 49, it gives you the results as well. So you'll see some people have opted out because we had castle settings on here. 4 of them were opt out, 2 are still in process, 2 have invalid email. So it gives you that summary of how that email performed in that mass objective there for you as well. So does that help, Karen?
Huge.
Perfect.
I'm so happy about it. I can't wait to try it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely beneficial, and educate your leads, give them something of value, be a little different than the competition out there. Create scenarios for them. A lot of people are still, you hear a lot of, we're waiting till COVID's over before we move. Tell them why they shouldn't, give them a real life scenarios why they may want to reconsider waiting, if, finances obviously allow them to. Because there's a lot of great things as to why the market's moving. There is individuals that question, I don't understand how the market's so hot and values are so high when we have COVID and so many things are shut down and so many people lost their jobs. It's a good market right now. You got low interest rates, and it's a seller's market, which is driving those prices up for sellers, and then they can rebuy at a lower interest rate. So it's kind of a no-brainer for many, right? So it keeps on moving. But yeah, so that should help you out a little bit there. And I feel like we have a couple more. Last to-dos. All right, so Hassan is saying you have listing criteria. You have not been able to do it in the last 2 days, and Ed was contacting support, but then again, yesterday and today I had the same problem. So what exactly is the problem with is it just it's not populating the listings, Hassan, or? And I can, let me find you in here. Hassan. There we are. So if you want to chat, if it's easier for you to talk, then by all means.
Okay. Crystal, what is happening is that when I put up a criteria, say I put city and then I put community too. So city is the only reason that I put is because credit view goes from Mississauga to Brampton, likewise Hood, Ontario. So when I checked, and that was when Mohammed also drew my attention that because of the Hood, Ontario, I was getting Brampton and everything, even with credit view, I was getting Brampton. So I just wanted it in Mississauga. So that's what drew my attention, and I corrected it.
Okay.
But then again, yesterday in the evening, I was doing same, like, I have another client who is looking for a home in Mississauga only, near Eglinton and all that. Again, I put the same thing, but you will see that I have got even downtown Toronto and all that built up in that. I don't know why.
In the Mississauga, when you have the city filter?
Yes, I can. You can check if you want. I can give you the name. I don't know whether it's still there or not, but
we can look at that after, because then I'll have to go in and blur your system. But yeah, I can look into it. But we can definitely try one and just see on here and see if we're able to produce the same results essentially that you were doing. So let's just do this one, Mississauga. And it could be.
I thought that because of the setting could be different. So
it could be a very.
It's 2:30.
Yeah, it might just be.
No, but you know what, Crystal, I asked a few other friends who are not on AgentLocator. They said they too had the problem, and one of them said that it could be because of the metrics and MLS, Stratus. There could be a clash. What are you following? I said, I'm still with Stratus.
Yeah.
And I was already, because you see, the thing is, I have my Mississauga board, which is on metrics. So I don't need to learn metrics. Metrics, I already know. But I said, as long as I am with Mississauga board, I'm using metrics. And if I'm in Treb, I'm using Stratus. So.
Yeah, and here it would be using the Stratus, the Treb IDX feed in here anyway. So in here, so let's say Mississauga, and then there was a specific community you were looking for in Mississauga?
Yeah, put Credit View and Hood, Ontario. I had put Hood, Ontario, City Center, Credit View, Cooksville, all of those. But try with these two. Let's see what it happens.
Okay, so we've got 67 listings. And
yeah, you got all Mississauga.
Yes. They're all Mississauga, from the looks of it anyway. Did you have a I don't know if you did you have a polygon on top of the cities?
No.
No.
Problem. You know what?
No.
Go down. I'll tell you what client it was.
Well, it was, I'll jump into your system after and take a look. Sometimes it's something so simple, but sometimes it's just an isolated case. There might be something going funky with your search for whatever reason, and it's just holding on to something in the back end that you've removed, but it's still, for whatever reason, is still holding on to that criteria.
No worries. You finish this and give me a quick call, and we can.
Yeah, we can sort that all out nonetheless.
I went to that, Mohammed and all that. It's the same thing they're saying. It is the clash between the city and the community. So if I use just community, then there is an issue, because that Hoor, Ontario runs from Mississauga to Brampton and so and so. Mississauga Road also runs from Mississauga to Brampton. So now, to get that out, I used city also. So then city, if it is Mississauga, then it should not give me Brampton, Hoor, Ontario. That we look at that together when we finish this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to spoil somebody else's time, and
Yeah, you never know. If, like, at least we can look at it and see if there's anything obvious that stands out in there. Now, any other questions from anyone else? I know that we've got some participants in here still. You guys don't be shy, ask your questions. Again, if you're experiencing something, guaranteed there's someone else out there with the same question that you may have that you are looking for answers to. Karen, there is no capacity of the amount of leads that you can enter. So you can add your leads in. They will take a precautionary. So for those of you, we've had clients before that they want to come and they've like, oh, I've got 20,000 or 30,000 leads or whatever it is. And we look at those at a case-by-case scenario because we want to know where those leads came from, right? So did they come from some spam list? Like we had one guy that he's like, oh, I've got like 100,000 contacts. We're like, no. Because we know exactly what they're going to be doing, and they're going to be doing a lot of mass mailing, right? So, because they basically, in hindsight, spam their lists, right? They're just adding it, and then so if you guys, for example, started doing some malicious activity, not that I think that you would, but if you started like just basically blasting in mass and getting a lot of end users and customers upset, what ends up happening is our mail account that's attached to the CRM would start getting flagged as being malicious and spam. And then everyone's emails that they're sending would start going into people's spam folders. So, but for the most part, you guys, there's no limit in there and what have you. Yeah, so you have fiber. Yeah, so you have 500 leads into Cyber Impact. Again, Karen, it's going to be on how you generate that. Shouldn't be a problem. It will take some time to import them. Like the actual process isn't. Your organization of those leads will need to be organized. Let me just see if I have that article for you, because it's a little bit more of a, let me just see. So I have I'll share the whole entire document with you guys of Zendesk. So if you guys are looking, so the most important thing that you guys are going to want to do when you're importing is getting those into your sheet. And you can look, this is an example sheet. So when you're looking at it, you should be able to make a copy in your own system, but this is kind of like just an example. So these are all the fields that you can import in. Okay, so just kind of putting it all in there. So it's kind of there. A lot of you will just have, whatever information, but it's kind of separating them into the appropriate fields so they go into the appropriate areas into the CRM system. When you go into import, it's just you go right here under settings to lead import. It is pretty straightforward. Again, I'm going to share with you guys the link to import if you have them. I'm just going to do this. I'll do it now. So I'll kind of show you again just before I share it. So this will be the link that I'm sharing. So there's a tutorial on how to do it. And then there's preparing the CSV file. So again, if you click on this, it's going to bring you to this. Again, kind of walking through that, and then the sample CSV file for you guys to use. So I'm going to put that in the chat for you guys. And that in here. And I feel like, did everyone get the other things that I sent? Because I feel like, did it go to all the panelists, or yeah, no, it did not. So let me just copy this one. So that last one was the import. This is the Google file for creating your filters, just in case y'all didn't get it. And then this one is going to be your sample tags list in there. So if you have that there, so there we go. So John is asking, can you autoplay a video that has been embedded into an email? John, no, that is not possible. It does not matter what platform you are. There is yet to be that out there where a video is actually playing in an email. So what you're seeing every time is GIF. It's a moving picture. So if you've got a really smart brain, or I don't know why you can't do this, to be 100% honest with you, I don't know if it's the email providers that block it or if it's just a capability out there. I'm not too sure. So, but you can create a GIF. So actually in the Google document that I shared, no, it wouldn't be in that one. I can walk you through quickly on how to do that. That's not a problem if you want to learn. Does anyone else here want to learn how to create a GIF in your email so that it encourages, GIFs in your emails will encourage your click rates, 100%. They will, you know, people will, they see things moving and they just got to click on it. So it's great if you're doing, you know, mass, you know, newsletters, things like that, where you got that report and you got something clicking so that, you know, moving in front of them, and kind of go there. Okay, so with a GIF, it's pretty straightforward. So you can actually go, and I'm just going to pull over this screen because I can't be in an incognito window to start. But essentially, what you're going to want to do is get a picture. So if a picture or video, okay, so if you have a video, sometimes some of you guys want to send out a video in an email, you know, kind of introducing yourself so that it puts a face to your name when you're doing stuff, 100%. Some of you may just want an image that has something that is animated. So if you're looking for free images that you can use for commercial use, so you guys would be considered commercial use. It's not like you're just keeping it for yourself. You're running a business and you're using these, right? So going to Pixabay is one of them, and Pexels is another. You cannot just go on Google, search an image and take it. A lot of them have copyright to them, okay? So I know a lot of people do it, but you can get fined if they find. We will never take an image that we know is from Google that you may have provided us and use it for you, because at the end of the day, we are your provider, and if we did it for you, then we're the ones that are getting in trouble. So when you go to Pixabay here, you can search an image. So let's just go click here, for example. Let's just see what kind of pulls up on here. So let's just use this one. So you can click your button. Pixabay is free, so you can free download. You can pick the size that you want in your download. It's free. You can donate money if you want to. It's entirely up to you. But now we've got this image that we may want to animate a little bit. So the next thing you're going to do is you are going to go on Jiffy. I'm sure there's other ones that you can go to, 100%. I just use jiffy.com personally. So you go on here, you're gonna be logged in. So that's where I thought I was logged in, but apparently not, but now I am. So you're going to go on here and you're gonna create the GIFs. It shows me any of the GIFs that I've previously made, kind of showing you just for some people. So again, these ones here would be using video. So it makes it look, so you guys think of Bomb Bomb, they're using a GIF. Those videos aren't actually in the email. It's a moving picture that is encouraging someone to click at. So you can go, so once you're on here, you're just going to go create. All right. So if it's a YouTube video, you're just going to use the share option on YouTube as if you're going to share that video with someone, and you're going to paste that link right in here, and then it'll produce. If you are using a picture, you can just drag and drop it to what you're doing. So now we've got the GIF in here. Again, this is an image one. You can add text to it. So if I really wanted, you know, adding text, I could add text if I really wanted to. I can move it around. You can change the color of that text. You can animate that text a little bit as well if you wanted to kind of make it all funky. It just really depends on what you're using this for. Ultimately, you will want a sticker. And here we're going to go, I just go click, point, play, different things like that. Right? So then just click on the one that you want to use. So let's just say I wanted to use this one, and I just need to scale this down a little bit. It's a little large, and move it. I don't know. Let's just put it right there. Okay. So there you can add as many of these like animations, whatever you want to here if you care to. And once you've added that to your image, you just continue to upload. And you can make it public or not. It's entirely up to you. I just leave everything public. Nothing I'm doing I don't want anyone else to use, nor do I know if they'd even want to use what I'm creating. So once you have it on here, there's your GIF, okay? So what you need to do now is save this. So you're gonna find the top of the image and right click it and save it. So I'm gonna save this as click here, just so that I know what it is. There we go. So click here. There we go. Some of you, when you go on here, if you click towards the bottom somewhere, sometimes it gives you a different, like a right click closer to the bottom gives you a difference. That's why I say click closer to the top of your image. That way it shows there. Now, so now we've got the GIF, we've got the GIF saved, we've created it. Again, you're going to go through those same exact steps, even if it's a video. Just note that if you are using a video, the video itself has to be shorter than 14 minutes to create a GIF from it. Okay, just so you guys are aware, but it'll be the same idea when you're doing it. You're then going to go in here into your email. You're going to go into your email template and you're going to create your new email. When you go in here, you can create your category. So you're always going to put it into a category. The system will make you put it into a category. And we are going to just call this GIF example. And then we'll just create it again, GIF example. You're then going to, once you build out your email and you want to put that GIF in here, you're going to go to this little image upload. So it's like a folder right here, and click on that. That's going to open up the folder on your computer. So we're going to click here, GIF, and open that. We can now see that it's in the email and it's still moving. That picture's still moving in here. Now, of course, we want to link this, right? So we're going to just click on this image, and then we're going to, so it's highlighted in blue. We're then going to insert the link. So let's just say I want this to go to www.agentlocator.ca. I choose a new window. That way it doesn't take over their existing browser, just opens up a new tab, for example, in there. Depends on where they're looking at this. And then just go okay.
Hey everyone, it is Otto from Agent Locator again.
Oh, someone's watching a video. So there is that here. So this is there. And then I'm just going to save it now just so that we can send it. Okay. So then when we go back home, we've got that GIF, that email saved. We are going to, I don't even know what this is, but we will select it. It is myself. We have a lot of alias emails, just so you know. So here is, we're going to just type GIF example here. There's that email. I'm going to send a test email to myself ultimately. So I'm going to send that test email, and then I'll show you guys that test email as well. and it decides to come in. All right. So now this email came in. It came in as GIF example. So if you see here, it came in as that. And there's the GIF. So it's in the email, moving. When we click on it, it brings us to agentlocator.ca, and it still left that GIF example open. It didn't take over that screen. It created a new tab for us here. So when you are building out these emails, you can scale this down. So if you want your click here to be a lot smaller, you can definitely do that. It doesn't have to be that large, okay? So you can scale it down that way if you need to, whether it's while you're creating your template or while you're sending it through here, you can scale it down as well. So hopefully that helps. Does anyone have any questions surrounding that? Karen is asking if you've logged in, how can anyone else see what you've created? I think, Karen, like on Jiffy's, because if it's public, I think if people are searching for, because you can search for GIFs on there as well. I think that's why. So if you basically don't want it searchable, for example, then, or found by anyone, then that's where you'd make it private, just for yourself in there. Unfortunately, John, the raw video cannot be stored in AgentLocator. You would have to upload it. So it depends on really what your video is about. It's always going to be uploaded to a third party, you know, YouTube, Vimeo. You can even have it linked into Facebook. Some of you have Facebook videos, so you can do it that way. If you have it on any of those three, you can also have that video on your website. So if they click on the link in the email, it's driven to the page on your website that you have that video. But it's ultimately, we don't store the video. So it has to be somewhere else first and then linked that way. Hassan is asking, how important or effective is it to mark the lead with alert when active or likes a property? So that would be into lead alerts. So for some of you, you won't necessarily see lead alerts in your system, but you can turn them on. So it's a great way to be a little more proactive when it comes to your leads. So let me walk you through how to turn those on for yourself. And some recommended settings, just so that you guys are aware. So when we go in here, so instead of normally a lot of you would action and access your user preferences this way, but to turn on lead alerts, you actually have to go in through this side door, essentially. So you're going to go into this little tab, CRM administration, and then into user accounts, and then you're just going to click your user account that you want it for. Then you're going to, so mine's already present. So if you don't see yours present, you're going to go to CRM settings, and then you're going to toggle on the lead alerts. Okay, so you toggle that on and then you save it. Then all you have to do is hit refresh, and then you'll notice the tab for lead alerts will appear. So these are some system settings with regard to branded systems. So you can turn these on 100% if you want to. Now, these are the ones that you're going to want to watch. So this first alert is when a lead becomes active for the first time or after 4 hours. If you have the option, I would select only on selected leads. So, and it also depends on how many leads you are getting as well. Because what'll happen is every time, if you have it for all the leads, for example, you just have it is yes, every time someone opens up the listing, you're going to get a notification. Now it'll start to get redundant and you'll start to overlook it because there's just way too many going on. So that's where I recommend doing it on only selected leads. That way, you can choose who you want to get notified about. And we'll kind of go through that in a moment. You can then choose how you're going to get notified. So do you want to get notified through an email that they're active? Do you want to get an SMS, or both email and SMS? Now this one here, when a lead looks at a property 3 times, I would say yes. Again, it really comes down to how many leads are in your system and really how active they are. But I would go yes. So this would then send you a notification saying, Crystal looked at, a listing 3 or more times. It sends you that email notification. So if you have the opportunity to jump into your system at that time and be like, hey, Crystal, I noticed it looks like you might have expressed some interest in, 123 Annie Street. Is there anything I can answer or any questions you have about that property that I can get answers for you for? So something like that, where you're being a little bit more proactive towards their home search. And then same idea for when a lead likes a property. So you would then, every time if they favorite a listing, you're going to get a notification. So you can do kind of the same kind of thing. You're following up. Hey, what is it that you like about this property? I would love to send you other homes that are similar to that one. Right. So it just allows you to be, again, more proactive rather than always reactive with what they're doing. The alert after 30 days, this comes standard. You can't actually change it. I don't know why. I think it's just the default setting anyway. But when a lead is active after 30 days of being inactive, you get that notification. So if I stop looking at listings for 30 days and then, 30 on the 31st day, for example, I decided to look at a listing, you would get that notification that I'm active again after 30 days of being inactive. So when it's the leads are active the first time, when you do have this option, and I'm hoping it shows in here because I've done this before and it didn't. There we go. So there should be a little box right here that says alert when active or likes a property. So you would just select that. So this would be for leads that are current clients, for example, that you have. You've already got a representation, or maybe you've added them into the CRM system, or someone you just really want to keep an eye on, right? You want to get notified when they're active all the time. Doesn't matter what they're doing. I just want to know when this person is looking at listings. So that's really what that is for. So it just allows you to be a little bit more focused on certain individuals, giving those reminders, and, rather than getting an alert every time everyone looks at listings, because for some of you, your phones and your emails would just be going off the hook. And you would have some of those individuals that, may have liked or favorited a property, and you missed that. And you weren't able to action it because you just got so many darn emails about all the regular activity that people are doing. So I hope that answers for you, Hassan, and gives everyone else a little bit of, insight on all of that. Nonetheless,
Crystal, send me a video of that also so that I can review it again.
You bet. Yes.
Thank you.
You can definitely do that. Yeah, so I hope that was useful to others as well. Let's just see, we've only got a little bit more left. There's no active questions currently. Does anyone else have, we've got about 5 minutes. Anyone have any other questions, whether it's surrounding the alerts or anything else within the system that I can quickly touch on before we go here? Got a quiet group today. All right. You guys are all experts. I'm going to jump into someone's CRM system and see if you're actioning all this. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that, but we can always do that as well. So if ever anyone needs to, we can always do a session as well. And I did this at the latter half of our leveraging webinars previously, is people who volunteer, we blur. So we have the ability to add the blur feature to your system, so no one can see all the lead activity. It's what we do for live dials and what have you, so they can't really see much of anything. Sometimes I have to take your screen off because I have to be able to see stuff to be able to do things. But kind of going in and giving you some tips and tricks on how to organize that database for yourself. Kind of saying here, the biggest component for most of you all, not all of you, but most of y'all, is not logging your information. I 100% get it. It is a pain in the butt. It is annoying, and you just wish it could, there was just something out there that read your mind all the time and stored that data somewhere. But your future self will thank your current self for logging everything. It just allows you, especially your calls, right? So if you have saved filters in here, those saved filters are, a lot of filters are going to be reflective of your last call. So if you're not logging your call, the system can't help you out. And then you're just going based on memory, and well, we're all human and our memory's stuck, right? So we think we're going to remember, but reality is you're really not going to remember. So it's always great to log. I always recommend the Twilio, the dialer in there, especially if you're making your calls. It just automatically logs it for you. We do understand it is an added cost, but at the end of the day, I always say time is money as well. If you're using Twilio, you're going to cut your call times in half. It'll take you about 30 seconds longer per dial if you're wanting to use your cell phone. So if you had 25 people to call, it's going to take you at least 25 to 35 minutes to accomplish that. Whereas if you had Twilio, and like, let's say no one answered in the first place, but if you had Twilio, you would accomplish in about 10 to 15 minutes at most. So you're just cutting that all down in half. So it really allows you to speed through things, and it logs the call so you know it happened. And then again, those notes of your calls, I like to tell everyone, like, leave that note as if you're leaving it for somebody else. You're not leaving it for yourself. It's not for you. It's for somebody else you're leaving that note for. Because again, we all get a little bit lazy, myself included, and we leave simple notes for ourselves, not ready to buy now, maybe down the road. Meanwhile, there's a 10-minute conversation. You're like, well, obviously there was more context to that conversation. What did you talk about? Put it all in there. Like, even if they're talking about their kids or their dogs or, their crazy mother-in-law, anything, put it in there. It's going to allow you to build a relationship. So when the next time you call that person, you can relate back to it. It's like, hey, how's that crazy mother-in-law doing with your, I hope everything's going okay, right? It will impress that lead that you actually remembered that information, but you'll also be able to build and kind of fall back on your previous conversation. They then realize or recognize who you are, because they may get a lot of calls. We get a lot of calls from people as well. And yeah, so just logging your information, tag your leads, and try to get organized. The more organized you are, it's like a chef will always have a clean kitchen, right? The more clean the kitchen is, the better they're able to produce their meals and their consistency and the speed and accuracy. So it's the same with your CRM. If you're organized in here, you guys are going to be able to get in, get out, carry on with your day, and have a much larger success surrounding it. So, but yeah, if any of you guys need help kind of taking a look at your system and seeing what you can be done in there, 100% get those tags and those filters from that list, get them into your system, plug them in there. If you have any questions after you've done that, we can definitely jump on a 30-minute session, kind of look at what you've done, implement it, and kind of give you a little bit of, here's your first step, here's your guidance. Some of you, depending on what you are doing, I do tiered as well, just so that, there's a lot of information. And sometimes we get information overload and then it's just too much. So depending on what we are discussing, I will sometimes break it down into shorter sessions and kind of spread out, guys, getting you guys up to speed and on the right track, so that you do see success and you get that momentum going and you're consistent in here. And do a little bit of accountability. Find an accountability partner that you guys have, in the Agent Locator clients even. There's tons of people in here. You guys can compare. So one thing that's great with Twilio is that you guys under your user accounts have statistics. So you can play little competitions with each other. Pull up the dates and be like, hey, how many calls did you make this week? I made 8. Woohoo! This actually goes by the last month, but you can have little friendly competitions, those accountability. But at the same time, you're only going to see a benefit from it at the end of the day. So, but yeah, I'd like to thank everyone. I do have to hop off for another meeting here, but I do really appreciate everyone hopping on. The next session, what I think we're going to cover is your Facebook integration. So kind of going over that and walking some of you guys through that entire process. It is a very lengthy process. It is time consuming your very first few times doing it. But if you learn the tools, it's like, you can give a man a fish, you teach him to fish, he's like fed for life, right? So same idea with Facebook. We can show you how, so you can kind of ramp up when you have listings, generate some business off that through Facebook and what have you. So hopefully you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. We're almost at the weekend, not that that matters for a realtor, but we will look forward to seeing you all again next Thursday. Take care and thanks for participating.